everybody, my name is Hope and welcome back to my channel. I like musicals, they're a part of my life. Today we're going to be talking about Death Becomes Her. Now if you didn't know, because if you missed my New York vlog, which you should definitely go and watch, I'm highly recommending it, I saw 4 Broadway shows and Death Becomes Her was the first one that I saw. Oh, it's falling over. This is going to be a really good start. So yes, I saw Death Becomes Her on Broadway and it was great. So I'm going to talk all about it. I have kind of ruined this a little bit in my bag, but it's fine. We'll live, we'll make do. But yes, that is what we're doing today. So before I get into the video, remember that you can like, comment, subscribe and do all that fun stuff. And you can also follow me on my social medias, which is XWilsonX on Instagram, HopeWilson45 on TikTok and Twitter. And I'm aware I look a mess, but we're just going to have to deal with it. It's a Friday. So without further ado, let's get into it. So like I've said 3 times already, I saw Death Becomes Her on Broadway. Now, I want to make one quick note. If you didn't see, there's a little insert here. And it says that in the role of Madeline Ashton, I saw Kaylee Cronin, who is the understudy for Megan Hilty. So I did not see Megan Hilty, but I did see Christopher Sieber. I did see Jennifer Simard. I did see Michelle Williams. I just wanted to say that so that when you know when I'm talking about things that I haven't seen Megan Hilty in that role. Capiche? Capiche. So, number 1, what did I think? Was amazing. I saw this my first night in New York, so I was thoroughly jet lagged. I was so tired, but we got rush tickets because we woke up at literally I think I said 5:45 a.m. New York time. Went to get rush tickets. So our rush tickets were kind of back of the stalls, and it was, I would say it was slightly further away than I would have liked, just because I was exhausted. I had to concentrate so hard. It was giving me a bit of a headache to make out all the faces. But I think if I wasn't like that, I probably would have been fine. But yes, that's where it's at. And what did I think? So, performances, amazing. This show is such a high caliber show. So much money has been put into it, and you can really tell in the sets and the costumes and just everything. I think it's so smart. I do think some of the references got a bit lost on me because I don't quite think I'm the target audience for this show. There was a lot of jokes that I didn't understand because I think I'm just not the right age group to understand them. But it didn't really take away anything of the show. It was just people were laughing, and I was like, why are people laughing? I actually had the same thing at Here We Are, because I was definitely bringing down the average age by a solid 20-25%, if not more. So I think it's just there are some things that are written for people that not everyone's going to get, and that's fine. I hadn't seen the film, and I still have not seen the film, and so I was going into this pretty blind. I didn't really know anything about it, and when I mean anything, I mean literally anything. So for that, I thought the story was pretty easy to follow, having no reference. There was a couple of things that I thought, there's a wedding sequence, and I thought it was a dream sequence, and it's not. And there was something a little later on, I don't actually remember what it was, but all I remember was I was confused as to what was going on, but not enough for me to have no idea what was going on. It was just the thing of I was a little bit lost at why they were there and who was what. Anyway, performances. I'm going to start with Madeline Ashton, which was Kaylee Cronin, who was I think she's the second cover, because I know that, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but Di Roscioli? It's something like that. She's the first cover, and so I saw Kaylee in her second cover, and she was so great. I think it's always so difficult when people go to see a show to see certain people to live up to the expectation, because you now know that you're not seeing that person. But I think she did a really great job. I thought the chemistry between her and Jennifer Simard was still really nice. I thought, even though I think she was probably a tad young to play the role, which is gonna happen because there's a scene where Madeline's doing an advert and there's a younger version of her, and she in her original track is normally that younger person, so it makes sense. And with the second cover they are typically younger, but I felt like she didn't actually look that old when she was supposed to look old, so that her transformation from old to beautiful, even though you can be old and beautiful, but you know what I mean, that transformation, there wasn't much of one because she still looked quite young. She was just in different clothes, but there's not really much you can do about that, especially when you're a cover. But her voice was great, were very detailed portrayals of these people, which is why I think it was so great. Jennifer Simard, what an absolute icon. It's actually insane that I've seen her on a Broadway stage, because she's just an icon. I think her performance style is so unique to her that it's just no one's ever going to be like Jennifer Simard. They're just not, because she's just Jennifer Simard and she's amazing. And also this show is a hard sing, kind of across the board really, and both of them just eating it up. These difficult ass belts, and they're just pinging it out like it's nothing, and I am eternally impressed by that. And she's just amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not really much else I can say there. Her mad version is just so good, and then her like being all like sexy, and then her being like not sexy. Oh, it's just brilliant. It really is just brilliant. Christopher Sieber, oh my god, it's like living out my theatre kid like little dreams, like me when I watched Shrek when I was like 10 years old and he was Lord Farquaad, or when he was in The Prom, or when he was defo in other things, but I just can't think of any. He's been in a lot of things. Anyway, he was really great. I think his character is arguably, maybe other than Jennifer Simard's character, is the hardest role to play in the show, because the character is just so weird. Like, he's like a wet wipe, but he has his own like beliefs. It's really hard to explain. The character is just a really strangely hard character to play, even though he's quite normal. And he pulls it off really, really well. I think he's very likable as an actor, and the way he portrays things in the context of things. Ernest, like especially in like the first half, he's not a great guy. I mean, this is kind of spoilers, but it's the same as the film, so not really. But like, he is engaged to Helen, and then Madeline's been all sexy over him, and then he leaves her to marry Madeline. But then they are like married for like 10 years. It's a really strange situation, but he's not the best character. He does it really well. There is a weird number. It's on the Death Becomes Her TikTok, the one where he's like getting drunk. You're Ernest Menville, damn it. Servant to the stars. It's actually surgeon, but that bit, that whole number is so strange. And he pulls it off. You have to be weird in that number because you can't not be. Like, it's a weird number otherwise. But the trio of them, it's a really fun time. Like, I think the camaraderie between the actors really comes out in the show. And also just the way that it's written, I think that it's a really smart way to write it. Now, there's not actually that many characters, because really the only other like lead character is Michelle Williams, who plays Viola. There's also her like manservant, and he gets stuff to do, and there's also Madeline's stylist, who is great, by the way. I actually forgot to mention him. He is great. He gets his own little number, and it's really fun. But Michelle Williams, the character doesn't have much personality, but I don't think that's down to Michelle Williams. I think that's just the vibe of the character. This like moody, like 100 and something year old woman, but she's like looks like Michelle Williams because it's Michelle Williams, and she's in these like gorgeous gowns, and she's just belting her head off. She's the one that sells them the potion to like stay young. If you know anything about the film, that's like what happens. I just think as a whole, all the performances in this were really, really strong, and I think everyone had a sense of what they were doing. There was one bit which felt like it really should have had Viola on stage, and it didn't. It's basically like they go and knock on the door after they've both had the potion and they've both been like shot and killed or whatever, and the henchman opens the door and he's like, Viola's not here right now. And I'm like, it feels like she should be here right now though, low-key. It feels weird that she's not, but that's more of a writing thing than like a performance thing. Songs, oh my god, there are so many tunes in this show, and I think it's obvious by how many are trending on TikTok, because there's been Madeline's been on my mind today, and then there's been So Tell Me Ernest, and then there's wait, we've talked about killing her before, this is even better than my plan, this looks like a real accident now, after I go you call the police and tell them you were in here reading when you heard a terrible scream. I can't do that whole one, by the way. There's also another one with Jennifer Simard. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but there is another one as well. And it's because the songs in this are just so good. Like, it's crazy to think, like, the first act ends with them both dying, or at least one of them dies in the first act when Megan Hilty's character Madeline gets pushed down the stairs, and genuinely they're just all bops. If you're wondering what my favorites are, I love Tell Me Ernest, obviously, and then I really like, what's it called? I mean, For the Gays is really fun. Let me see if I can find it in here, because it's probably in here somewhere. This is just a side note as I was reading. Steven Spielberg was a producer on this show. How random. But yeah, what is that song called? It's really gonna annoy me. I can't find it, but Hit Me is fun. The other one's Confrontation, which is like the Act 1 finale. They're all bangers. They're all so good. The staging is so cool. Like, there's a staircase, but it gets thinner as it goes up, and then there's like a projection at the back, so it looks like it's going on forever. And then like the costumes are like so pretty. Like, genuinely, I've never seen Michelle Williams look cooler in my life. Bear in mind, I've never really seen Michelle Williams before this point, but that's not the point. Sound design so good. Music, like the orchestration illustrations are so fun. Oh, there's just so many good things about this show. The choreography is really odd. Like, stuff like For the Gays is like exactly what you'd expect. Like, it's total like Broadway stuff. But like Sempre Viva and stuff, like people are getting like lifted around. It's really weird, but like it looks good, but super strange. I do have to say. And honestly, I'm just waiting for it to come to the UK. Like, I feel like with this show, it's not a matter of like if, it's just like when, and also who is the more interesting question. I feel, I know people want to know when it's coming. I want to know who is going to be playing those lead roles, because you need personalities in these roles, not only to sell tickets, but just because of the way that the show is. Like, you're literally following these two the whole show. Like I said, when I don't think I did show you, but like these are all the characters. There are 7 people on that page, 7, and one of them is the standby. So there's 6 characters, like literally 6 characters in the whole thing. So these people have to carry, because without them, there's no show. Like, there's literally no show. But I think honestly, what I love the most about this show is its production value. Like I said, all of the different technical elements were just amazing, but it commits, and that is one of my favorite things. I love when a show commits to not only the bit, like this show is kind of camp in the best way, and it's so aware of why it's funny and why it's a good show, and it really leans into that. There's no Jennifer Simmards out there, like there's no Helen Sharps out there, you know what I mean? IRL, the changed Helen Sharp does not exist. No one really speaks like that, but in this they do, and it's so good, and it works so well, like so well. And I think honestly that's something that really sets shows apart from shows. This show goes all out. Obviously they probably have a bigger budget than other shows do, and that makes sense, but like sets, costumes, lighting, sound, performance, like it's all there. It's literally all there. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I don't think I really have said anything bad about it, really, because it's probably one of the strongest shows in the world at the moment, I would say. I think there's definitely a couple of little tweaks just to make people who are unfamiliar with the material more clear as to what's going on, but that could just be a personal thing. People could disagree with me who've seen the show. Like, it's what works for people, really. But this show, man, it's one to watch out for. I think it's just so musical theatre. It's so what we need at this time that, like, it's great. I think what is also great is that you forget it's an adaptation. When you go into other shows, I feel like you're very aware that it's an adaptation and like what it's following and what it's about. I feel like because this is like a cult classic, that's why it's become so popular, because people that have seen it, it's a good adaptation of it, and those who haven't enjoy it for its differences. I think that's why Heathers is also so popular, because people who weren't familiar with the source material enjoy this like dark comedy type show with all these stylistic choices, whereas people who are familiar just enjoy it because of the adaptation that it is, if that makes sense. But yeah, what a show, man. What a show. I'm starting to stick to the program, the playbill, even, because my hands are sweaty because I've been talking about this for so long. But do you know what I mean? If you have any questions below, please leave them, because I didn't really know what to talk about. That's why I just kind of talked about everything that I liked about it. I would highly recommend going to see it if you can. I think Tony Awards season, I think it's going to do very well. I'm not quite sure about Jennifer and Megan in their respective roles, if they will win the Tony for this. I think it's a really difficult call to make, especially this year, because there are so many great performances. But when it comes to costumes and lighting and set, I feel this might dominate, because it's just so technically apt as a show. But yes, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. You can like, subscribe, follow me on all my social medias. Keep enjoying musicals as much as me, and I will see you in the next one.